Hello, I'd like to make a comment about a short clip I saw on YouTube by Tucker Carlson. I don't think I've done anything on Tucker Carlson before, but um, this clip, which I will put a link in, enraged me to the point where I felt I had to do almost a rebuttal, if you will. I'm not famous enough to do a rebuttal to Tucker Carlson, but I will give you some insight into what I'm referring to. Now, as background, I listened when I was in Spain to a podcast about Tucker Carlson that I thought was great. And if I'm able to track it down, I will put it in the notes. It explained the rise of Tucker Carlson and why he has become so popular. And I thought it was absolutely fascinating. I remember him when he began on Crossfire, and I thought he was the silliest man ever. He was, I don't know if you recall Crossfire from CNN, but they would have two guests, one on the right, one on the left, and then they brought in two politicians, one on the right, one on the left, and they asked them questions. And Tucker was always being upstaged by either his the guest he was had on, or the person on the other side. But he was an interesting character. Anyways, the podcast explains what he did and the position he carved out. He carved out his own niche. And the podcast was the information, I shouldn't say the podcast, the information this podcast had explaining what Tucker did was absolutely riveting. If he did it all knowing this, then he is to be given credit, because he carved out a special niche that he has now been dominating in the ratings. And he's become wealthy from it. Now, back to the clip. He did a take about the churches burning down in Canada. And he mockingly made a comparison to the churches being burned in Russia, which I don't at all understand his link. I think he was trying to, in my estimation, be clever and just throw that in, but he didn't at all make the link what it had to do with Russia, and I don't personally get it, but he's allowed to throw that in, I guess, if he wants. And then he begins saying, later on, he talks about the border with the U.S. being closed, and somehow that makes Canada backward. Again, he doesn't explain what he's trying to say, and I don't think anyone can follow his logic, because to me it's non-existent. Yes, the border is closed, but that's because we don't want it open because of what they did. And I don't understand if he understands that, or he's just calling Canada backward because the border's closed, which I don't follow. I think it's closed for a perfectly legitimate reason in my mind, and many other people's mind as well. Anyways, so he had on a guest, very famous personality in Canada, everyone knows, but he doesn't let him speak much, and then he wraps it up by coming to the conclusion that he's correct. And I was just shocked. I thought, you haven't made an argument whatsoever. You're just positing your opinion, which to me, I don't watch him very often, but I do see the occasional clip. But I thought it was the most ignorant opinion ever made on a topic. You'll have to decide for yourself. He was saying because the churches were being burned down, that therefore there was no compelling reason why. And I think he's completely uneducated on this topic, or he is the most ignorant person I've ever heard of on TV. I'm not saying that I concur with what happened, but I certainly empathize with the indigenous people reacting to the Catholic Church in their way. What has happened to them by the Catholic Church, I think, is reprehensible, and I don't know how anyone in their right mind can defend it. Honestly, don't know how it can be defended. I'm going to put in another clip of a priest who did try to defend it and ended up looking ridiculous, and now may be in trouble, or he may either be removed or have his parishioners stop attending his sermons. So I'm going to put those clips in. You can see for yourself. Comments would be appreciated. Is it the most ignorant comments you've ever heard? Or can it somehow be defended, what he was saying about the churches and the people, what they did? By the way, there's also a similar clip, which I will put in, that is also owned by Rupert Murdoch, Sky News in Australia. And if you don't know, Rupert Murdoch owns almost every media outlet that is out there. I remember Stephen Colbert once did a part where he rolled the screen of all the different medias that are owned by Rupert Murdoch, and it went on forever. Even when he sped it up, it still went on forever. And so this Sky News is also owned by Rupert Murdoch, and they were calling the people in Manitoba who took down the statue of Queen Victoria feral Marxists. I didn't understand that part either, so I should throw that clip in so you could watch that in case you're not aware of that one either. Again, I don't know what their reasoning or logic is. I can only assume, when I've seen those two, that Rupert Murdoch is trying to capitalize off racist people, racist ideology, or trying to provoke people's buttons, as we say. So I'll leave it there. I'll put all those links in. You can watch them yourself. And if I can track down that podcast, it may take me a while. I'll certainly throw that in too. Tucker Carlson is not someone you can rely on the information, but at the same time, neither can you rely on Rachel Maddow on the left. Jimmy Dore just did a great piece on it, that Rachel did Russiagate for a couple years, trying to provoke everybody's buttons, and she went to court, and the judge ruled that you can't believe what she reports either. It's not news, it's just information used to press people's buttons. And so Tucker was on the right and Rachel was on the left. And just so you know, it is all infotainment. It is all there just to get people going. It's not there as information you should take seriously. Just know that when you watch those shows, if you do. I no longer do. Okay, bye-bye.